Hey everybody, it's Nancy Norbeck. I am back with this week's Creative Pep Talk, and this week I would like to invite you to kick it old school. This pep talk is brought to you by the fact that my headphones recently broke after I recorded my last podcast interview, to my horror and surprise. And obviously, they're kind of important in order to do the podcast. So after debating what to do for a little while, I decided to treat myself to a more expensive pair of headphones than I would originally have decided to buy. And I'm not going to lie, I am kind of in love with them. And, in the process of looking at headphones and buying a pair and then trying them out, because, in the old days when I was a kid, you could go to a store and you could actually listen to all sorts of headphones and decide which one you liked best in the store and take them home. But you can't do that anymore. So you have to try them out when you get them, make sure you're going to keep them. And also make sure that they're comfortable and all those kinds of things. Because when you're wearing them for at least an hour, they need to be comfortable. And in the course of doing that, I realized that, I really love how they sound. I would take them everywhere, except that they're really not made for that. But I've also remembered that when I was a kid, my dad had his stereo, and it was a sacred thing. And the headphones were a sacred thing. And I was not allowed to play with the headphones. I could very carefully hand him the headphones and maybe put them on for a while and listen to something myself, but I had to be very careful with them. And, it was back in those days when people would actually, and this sounds so strange now, but people would actually sit down and put their headphones on and put on a record, because we didn't have CDs yet, and just sit in a chair and listen. When was the last time you did something like that? And because I remembered this, I decided that I really wanted to do that. And last night I sat down with my new headphones and my phone, so a little bit modern, and I listened to some things that I had on my phone. And then I thought, ooh, you know what would be really cool? And I went on YouTube and I found this 15-minute suite of the music from the Alfred Hitchcock movie North by Northwest. It's a score that I've always liked when I've watched the movie, but I've never actually sat down and paid attention to it before. So I wanted to just give myself the gift of spending 15 minutes just listening, as if I had gone back to my childhood and stepped into my dad's shoes and, old school, just sit and listen. And I got to tell you, it was one of the most amazing 15 minutes of my life, because I just sat there with my eyes closed, listening to the music and paying attention to all of the things that were going on. And I've heard this music before, but I've never really paid attention to it. And it sounded absolutely amazing on these headphones. Now, obviously, not everybody is a musician. Not everybody, is going to react to that the same way, though I highly recommend you give it a try if you've never done it. And even if all you have is the earbuds that came with your phone, I highly recommend it. It can be a really fascinating experience. But what can you take from that and apply to what you do? Whether it is your creative work or something else, because I guarantee you that somewhere in the hustle and bustle of the modern era, where everything is constantly happening, where we've shoved music into the background, where everything is on a screen, where everything is, right now, electronic, everywhere, something's gotten lost. And it's probably something that you haven't thought about in a long time, and you may not even have noticed has gotten lost, because you haven't taken the time to think about it and to pay attention to it. And that's not a personal failing. That's just a result of being alive in 2023. But whether it is pulling out your grandmother's favorite cake recipe, going back to pencil and paper if you've been drawing on a tablet, listening to music in the old school way, creating music of your own, maybe, pulling out a film camera instead of a digital camera. Whatever it is, it's worth revisiting, even if you only do it every once in a while, to remind yourself of the differences in how these things work and worked, and what you can see if you can bring into the practice of what you do today. What you appreciate when you do things the slower, more old-fashioned way, and how you can appreciate them or remember to appreciate them, or maybe just make a point of remembering them in what you do on your regular basis. I guarantee you, if you make an effort to do something in an old-fashioned way here and there, you'll find something that's worth noticing. And you'll find something that you'll decide is worth keeping, even if you don't do it all the time. I would really, really, really love to hear what those things are. I've already shared mine with you, but I'm sure that there will be more, and I'm sure that you will find more. So please, please leave it in a review, leave a comment, send me an email, put it on Twitter or Facebook or Spoutable or whatever platform you're on. Let me know, because I think that there's a lot that we have lost track of that's really worth revisiting. And I hope that you will, and I hope that you'll tell us all about it. And with that, I'll see you next time.